Dahil doon sa ginawa nilang yun, aba, hindi po nila nakita na pumalag tayo doon sa maling ginagawa nila. Kaya ano ginawa? Sinunod-sunod na hanggang ngayon kung ano-ano ng bendalo ang ginagawa nila, lalong-lalo na dito kay VP Sara Duterte. Tulad nga lang nito. Ito, pag-uusapan na natin, simulan na natin. Yung tungkol doon sa paglabas ng AMLAC. Ito'y sobrang mali. Panoorin natin to.
Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. The Bureau of Internal Revenue has ordered a tax audit of Vice President Sara Duterte, her husband, Man Scarpio, and 9 businesses linked to the couple. This comes after the Anti-Money Laundering Council flagged billions of pesos in their bank transactions during the House Justice Committee's hearing on the impeachment complaints against the Vice President. But her husband's camp is pushing back, saying the release of their bank records violates the law. Let's get on point with his spokesperson, Attorney Neil Abayon. Attorney, nice to meet you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening po.
Proud naman ako dito. Ito yung matinong version ni Atty. Libayan eh. Oo, kasi pareho sila ng style nito eh. Pero ito yung matino. Ito yung professional. Si Atty. Libayan, yung ewan ko, saan pinalaki, yung sa kanto ba yun pinalaki. Tapos naging abogado lang. Tapos nag-vlog, kukuya-kuya ako eh.
So sa mga hindi nakakakilala, bago ho kayong talagang spokesperson ni Attorney Man Scarpio?
Yes, very recent lang po. Last Monday lang.
Okay.
Finalize yung engagement.
What happened? Are you friends? Do you know each other from the past? Why the need for a spokesperson?
So, si Attorney Mans, that's the first time I met him. Si VP Sara, I've had some interaction before during my days as a former congressman in the 17th Congress. But from 2019 onwards, wala naman akong interaction with them. And then, maybe they just needed someone who can explain to the public. That's why he engaged my services.
Did you have any reservations about being his spokesperson?
So, I just checked if I had any conflicts of interest because I'm also a practicing lawyer. And wala naman. And then I asked him about his plans, legal plans. Then mukhang nag-aalay naman po kami. So I accepted the legal adventure, so to speak.
Taga Davao ba kayo?
Taga Northern Samar.
Northern Samar.
Waray
I
and
see.
Bisaya.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So again, that's Attorney Abayon. For those who, I'm sure you'll start seeing him on television.
Parang takanta kasi ano, no? Bakit mo dinidepensahan? Kasi alam mo, sa totoo lang, ito kung meron man ang mga media o kaya mga pinklawan na pinaniniwalaan, nandun sila sa bubble sila eh. Yung akala nila lahat sila tama. Totoo, hindi ko sinasabing itong reporter na babae Pero meron kasi sa kanilang ano eh. Kasi ang problema ng social media, sometimes, kung ano yung political leaning mo, yun lang ang lumalabas sa'yo. Pansinin niyo yan. Kaya nga dapat paulit-ulit ko sinasabi sa inyo, tingnan niyo yung kabilang kampo o kabilang kanto. Tingnan niyo yung argument nila. Kasi unless makita mo yun, o open kang tignan yun, hindi mo talaga makukonfirm sa puso at sa isip mo na tama ang iyong pinaglalaban. Kung lagi lang ang tinitingnan mo, pinapanood mo yung mga kakampi mo, natural, magpapalakpakan kayo niyan. Ganun na nangyayari sa mga pinklawan eh. Dahil nga sa kanilang iniisip na tama lagi ang sinasabi nila, para silang tanga nagpapalakpakan sa isa't isa. Tama yung ginawa mo. Kaya nga tinan mo, lahat ng ini-interview nila, yung mga kaanib lang nila. Yung kano lang nila, pareho lang nila ng kulay. Bakit to kanyo? Kasi nga, para hindi nila makita yung buong picture. Pero buti na lang din, kahit papaano may mga ganito na nagbubukas kahit papaano doon sa kabilang panig.
To talk about the complaint filed. The complaint filed against the BSP governor, the AMLAC executive director, and some congressmen and congresswomen.
Yes.
Hindi, congresswomen. Dalawa, Congresswoman Luistro and Congresswoman Laila De Lima.
Yes.
Nag-file po si Attorney Man Scarpio. He was together with his lawyer, Attorney Danao.
Yes.
Tama ho? Attorney
Yes,
Danao.
Attorney Danao.
I think that was Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
Monday morning.
That's right, no? Complaint before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office. Basically, yung sinasabi nila, there was a violation of the Anti-Money Laundering Act,
Yes.
the Bank Secrecy Act, and the Data Privacy Act. Didiretsuhin ko na po ito. Bakit ho sila lang? Si AMLAC Executive Director, si BSP Governor, si AMLAC Chairperson, si Congresswomen Luistro, De Lima, Congressman Sendanya, at Shell Yocno po.
So, yung nag-release po kasi ng AMLAC records, well, first alleged AMLAC records because we have not received an official copy ng AMLAC records as of today. And even, prior to the hearing, up to date, wala pa po. So since it's AMLAC, then AMLAC is under BSP, sila yung finailan. And then for the very specific Congress people, Sila po kasi yung nag-motion for the issuance of subpoena, second the motion. Pero if you look at the complaint po, there's also yung John and Jane Does. So once we fully establish conspiracy between all of them, then other individuals could also still be held liable, not named currently.
But if there are, let's say, basing from the vote the other day, 58 who ata yung bumoto for the impeachment, for probable cause on Vice President Sara Duterte, would it be fair to say that it would be the 58 also, yung isasama nyo sa...
Yung 58 po has nothing to do with this case. The vote yesterday was for probable cause.
I know.
Yes, so...
Pero sila ho kasi members ng House Justice Committee, hindi ho ba?
Did all 58 also vote for the subpoena? So yung pinaka-ano po talaga namin currently is the one who moved, then seconded the motion. And then may John and Jane Doe naman po. So there's still a chance na other congressmen and maybe even...
Ang galing ng ano niya doon ha, ng paliwanag niya doon kasi parang sinasabi bakit pinag-iinitan niyo lang itong mga ito? Hindi, sila ho kasi yung nag-move. Sabihin sila yung nagsabi na, sige, kunin natin ito, ilabas natin ito. Sila ho yun eh. Hindi mo naman pwedeng i-cargo mo yun doon sa ibang mga membro lamang noong Committee on Justice, di ba?
Other resource persons could also be held liable once we establish conspiracy.
Okay, quick question on that. How do you establish conspiracy?
Once, pag mapakita po namin na may concerted effort to disclose yung AMLAC records. Because the criminal act that was committed here was the illegal disclosure of the AMLAC records that allegedly belongs to Attorney Mans. Yes.
Says, of course, your camp, because there are laws being used
yes.
to protect what they did and to debunk or to
Yes.
deny what they did, calling it actually illegal. Let's put that. Let's talk about that so we have a better understanding of it. Section 8A of RA 9160 or AMLA
Yes.
as amended. Ito po yung ginamit ni Attorney Danao, hindi ho ba?
We use 3 laws.
Okay. Well, this is one of
Yeah,
them.
one of them. Yes, that is correct.
Basically shall not reveal, kasi madalas po niyang sinabi, in any manner, any information known to them by reason of their office.
Yes.
Yan po yung madalas niyang ginamit. And then, binabangga naman po ng kabila doon sa Section 2 of the Bank Secrecy Law,
yes, yes.
or Republic Act 1405, basically saying that deposits are considered confidential except upon written permission from the depositor or in cases of impeachment. How do we understand these two seemingly conflicting laws?
Number one, they're not conflicting.
Okay.
So if you look at the bank secrecy, it states their deposits. Yung Anti-Money Laundering Act talks about AMLAC records, AMLA records. So let's say yung mga covered transactions, suspicious transactions, if that is submitted to the AMLA, that is already an AMLA record. So, and if you also look at both laws, they have different penal provisions. So you can violate RA 9160 as amended, and you can also violate the bank secrecy.
Pwede.
Pwede. Those are 2 different laws. Plus the Data Privacy Act din po. Kasi may sensitive personal information na disclose. So the very basic naman po sa data privacy, if sensitive personal information is illegally disclosed, it also carries penal provisions.
And ano yung sensitive information?
Yung ano lang po yan, if there are multiple information, and then although it does not specifically name an individual, but if a reasonable person will view that information, he will be able to identify who that person is. That's considered sensitive. And if you illegally disclose that, meaning without consent, there's also corresponding penal
Pero
sanctions.
paano ho yun kapag sinabing in cases of impeachment?
Yung sa AMLA wala po. If you read Section 8A
Yeah, dito
of
sa Bank
RA,
Secrecy Law.
sa bank secrecy. So yung position po namin is there's still no impeachment case. The precedent that we have is the impeachment of Chief Justice Corona. So the bank deposits were disclosed in the impeachment trial court. So currently, the House of Representatives...
Malinaw yan no? Malinaw ito para sa atin mga kababayan ha. Kasi sinasabi dito, ang linaw-linaw, merong presidency, ibig sabihin merong nangyari na before, na inilabas lang during the impeachment trial, which is in the impeachment court, which is the Senate. Kaya nga paulit-ulit lang nila sinasabi, is this the impeachment trial or proceedings ay court na ba? Hindi pa. So ito'y paghahanap pa lamang ng probable cause. Pero dito na nilabas yung supposedly hindi dapat ilabas. Kasi remember, impeachment ang nakalagay doon. You only use the word impeachment pagka na-impeach na ang tao. Particular dito si Vice President Sara Duterte. Remember, ginagamit yung impeach na si VP Sara Duterte ay pag pinagbotohan na ng plenaryo at sinabing, oo, kami lahat nagsasabi. Kasi hindi naman sinabi diyan impeachment procedures. Di ba? So doon pa lang, yun yung argument. At dahil nga din po dyan ay may president sila, which is yung kay Corona, inilabas during the impeachment trial. Nung panahon na tinatry na po, ibig sabihin, nasa court na, impeachment trial court, nandun na ho sa Senate.
They are performing their constitutional mandate, which is to initiate an impeachment. And as described by the HOR themselves, it's akin to a preliminary investigation. Parehas daw po sa PI.
That's right.
So, in regular PI, wala pong court power ang investigating prosecutor.
Akin, but does not necessarily mean that what happens in the PI, they take in hook, line, and sinker. Because also under the Constitution, it says the House shall promulgate its own rules
Yes.
during the impeachment because it
Yes.
says that they have the sole jurisdiction to initiate all impeachment proceedings.
Tingnan nga natin kung paano niya sasagutin to. Kasi daw, yan ang paulit-ulit din sinasabi ng mga congressman eh. Hindi, the House can promulgate their own rules. Yung kanilang sariling rule. Okay, tingnan natin.
Under Section 7 of their rule, I'm just going to summarize it. It says that they have the authority to issue subpoenas. Kaya
Subpoenas.
dito po napunta si AMLAC. How do you respond to that?
So, like what you stated, ma'am, subpoena. Subpoena is different from a court order. So, if you read the law, it states there court order or impeachment case. Subpoena pa lang po yun. Subpoena is a different legal process from a court order. A court can issue subpoena, they can also issue court orders.
Right. And
Galing ano, di ba? Magkaiba yun. Kaya nga sabi ko sa inyo, alam mo dapat siguro maging requirement na yung pagiging lawyer na bilang congressman. Kasi nawiwirdohan lang ako ha. Ito question ko lang naman. Yeah? I'm not against what's happening now. Pero may question ako. Kung ikaw ay mambabatas, di ba dapat eksperto ka sa batas? Di ba? Dapat ikaw ay may alam sa batas. O ikaw ay isang lawyer. Ngayon ko na lang nare-realize ito eh. Kasi dati medyo parang, pwede naman siguro. Pagalingan na lang siguro. Di ba? Parang ganon. Pagalingan na lang ng mga consultant. Pero ngayon, tila lumalabas na mukhang tama yung sinasabi ng iba na kailangan talaga pag mambabatas ka, lawyer ka. Kasi nga, you're dealing with laws. And yet, you do not know yung mga terminology ng isang lawyer o kahit yung mismong mga terms sa batas. Halimbawa na nga lang, mamaya pag-usapan natin yung lintik na fourth wheel na yan eh. Eto, tulad nito, iba yung sinasabing subpoena at court order. Magkaiba yun, di ba? Napaka-importante eh. Ano sa tingin nyo mga kababayan? Comment nga kayo dyan. Kailangan ba ang congressman o senador ay lawyer? Kasi parang ganito eh. Di ba pagka pulis ka o kaya sundalo ka, meron ding requirement. Hindi pa pwedeng pulis ka o sundalo ka, hindi ka marunong humawak ng baril. Di ba? Kaya nga, may training kayo eh. Magte-training muna yung, halimbawa, sa pulis o sa sundalo, may training muna bago ka gawing pulis o gawing sundalo. Di ba? May ganun eh. O, mismong yung kailangan mag-take ka ng, kunwari, ikaw naman ay pulis, ikaw kailangan mo mag-take ng criminal law. May ganun sila sa school eh. Kasi nga, ikaw ang magpapatupad niyan, dapat alam mo. May requirement. Ito, mas matindi. Ikaw ang gumagawa ng batas. Ikaw may hawak ng pera ng taong bayan. Di ba? Ikaw yung nagde-deliberate. Kayong nag-aano sa impeachment. Di ba dapat mas mataas din ang ating expectation or requirement sa mga to?
and because you basically are saying this is not a
A
court.
court. So, para mas maintindihan po ninyo,
Sige.
in a court proper po kasi, dyan na talaga binabangga, kino-confront yung evidence, the very specific details, the credibility of witnesses. So dito, since they cannot do that in the HOR initiation level, kasi wala pong right to cross-examine, di ba? So they cannot, in other words, let me clarify, yung sa bank records, it does not fall under the exception kasi wala pa po sila nung ganun na stage that they will confront evidence and then cross-examine, the right to cross-examine. In other words, yung establishing of probable cause does not amount dun sa court level na proceedings in a sense.
Ganito, ipaliwanag lang natin ha. Kasi yung Committee on Justice, ano ba ang purpose nun? Ang purpose lang nun is to see the impeachment complaint after makuha yung substance, makita, the Committee on Justice, House Committee on Justice, titignan lang yung complaint at sasabihin, okay, there is a probable cause. Hindi ka hihingi ng ebidensya. Diba? Parang sa piskal. Kaya nga sabi ko dapat talaga abogado ito mga, although may abogado rin naman doon, bobo naman, di ba? Kahul lang ng kahul. Isipin nyo to sa piskal. Nagreklamo yung isang tao. Sabi niya, nilibel ako ni Banatbay. Ganon. Titingnan ngayon ng piskal yan. O ano sagot mo? Subpina. Isusupina ka ngayon ng piskal. Oy, Banatbay, eto subpina. Ano ang sagot mo dito sa... Papakita niya to ano ang sagot mo dito? Sagutin mo nga ito. Titingnan lang niya. Ito ang sagot. Okay. Dati to kasi ngayon iba na eh. Ngayon kailangan ng probability of conviction. Sabihin kung mukhang makukonvict siya, tsaka mo lang ipapasa sa court. Pero kung alam mong sablay na, hindi mo na ipapasa. Dati kasi, iba naman, masyado mababa yung limit. Ano yon? Noon dati, probable cause lang. Mukhang may laban ito Mukhang, pwede. Ganun lang di ba? Titingnan mo lang. Hindi ka hihingi ng, pakita nga ng ebidensya mo. Ano pa yung mga ebidensya? Hindi ka ganun kasi you are not yet the court. Alam mo, simpleng-simple nito na hindi ko maintindihan bakit yung mga tao minsan nagbubulag-bulagan. Ganyan ang problema sa mga Duterte haters Nagbubulag-bulagan sila. This is not the court to present the evidence. Dito pa lang pinresenta nila ebidensya. Hindi lang ebidensya, dinagdagan pa nila ng mga kung ano-anong akusasyon. Halimbawa kay Digamo. Halimbawa yung kay Madriaga. Halimbawa yung lahat dinagdag nila. Kaya nga 'di ba tinatawag na fishing expedition na to ng karamihan ng mga totoong abogado na hindi Duterte haters? Fishing expedition ang ginagawa ng Committee on Justice. So isa na rin itong ginawa nila yung paglabas ng AMLAC. Kasi nga sinasabi dito, 'di ba, na once the account o yung bank transaction pinasa na sa AMLAC, merong batas na nagsasabi doon na bawal. Anong ginawa nila? Inilabas nila. Dito, sumasablay talaga yung Congress, yung House. Lalong-lalo na yung di umanong may utang daw kay VP Sara Duterte. Yun yung argument niya dito na kung bakit pwede sila mag-promulgate ng sarili nilang laws but not the role of the impeachment court, which is the Senate.
Yeah, but if they say that they have, under Section 7, they have the right to issue subpoenas, dusus tecum, and ad testificandum, sabihin po
Subpoena. Iba ho yung subpoena sa mag-gather ng evidence. Yung sinasabi ni attorney.
Sinapina ko po yung records ng AMLAC. Anong gagawin ng AMLAC? Hindi sumunod?
If you read Section 8A po kasi absolute in terms. So currently, wala po tayong precedent.
8A of what?
8A of RA 9160 as amended.
Si AMLA.
Shall not disclose in any way.
Yun
That's
na.
the specific word. So since wala pong precedent, that's a very recent amendment po 2021.
Okay, you said there's no precedent. I spoke to, I'm still trying to understand this, attorney, no? I spoke to Congressman Sheldioc, no, also very recently, and asked him about these two provisions that seem to be contradicting each other. And basically he said there's already a Supreme Court ruling on this. Let's listen.
But actually, there was a case that already reached the Supreme Court about the Anti-Money Laundering Council and its whether it's covered and in terms of that rule on confidentiality. And in the case of Republic versus Sandigan Bayan, the Supreme Court said that the AMLAC is not a covered institution. And for various reasons said that when it comes to suspicious and covered transactions, these are not part of that. And especially if we're speaking of a Committee on Justice that is implementing a constitutional requirement. Ang kapangyarihan ng Committee on Justice ay hindi lang galing sa batas yan. That is a constitutional command for us to conduct a hearing.
Respond, attorney, please.
So yung issue po kasi talaga is, number one, whether or not the documents disclosed is part of AMLAC records. So we are of the position that's part of AMLAC records. Therefore, Section 8A applies. Kasi very clear naman po, any information shall not be disclosed in any form. So yun po yung position
But he
namin.
said there was already a ruling by the Supreme Court that AMLA is not actually covered, especially when we're talking about suspicious and covered transactions. I think that was what Attorney Sheldioc, Congressman Sheldioc
We
was
have to
saying.
check po what year in jurisprudence kasi the amendment was very recent,
Okay.
2021.
Kailan ho siya amended, si AMLA?
2021.
2021. All right. So maybe that's also something to look at, this particular Supreme Court decision.
Yes.
That was mentioned
Kasi
by
maybe that's an old
Congressman.
jurisprudence prior to the amendment.
Galing mo, Brad. Yun, Tama nga naman. Kasi maaring walang basihan noon. Ibig sabihin, walang batas noon na ganun. Ngayon, may batas na 2021 lang, very recent lang, na bawal ilabas na. Yun ang ating aalamin.
I see. Kung luma po yun, obviously, the amended version will supersede
Yes.
any
Yes.
ruling, a previous ruling by the Supreme Court.
Kasi most likely the interpretation there, if it's based on the old law, yung interpretation is based on the old law.
Yeah.
So if there's a new amendment, it will supersede.
How about the fact that, well, not the fact,
Can I
rather.
comment pala ma'am on the
Yes,
constitutional
please go
mandate
ahead.
that he mentioned?
Yes, I was going to ask you about that. Go
so
ahead.
we have to remember the fundamental basis also of these confidentiality laws is yung right to privacy. So right to privacy is also a constitutional bill of right po yan. Under Article 3 po yan.
Yun na nga po
So you have to
Meron-
balance also the accountability provisions, accountability of public officers in relation to the Bill of Rights.
Right.
Because as explained po by the Supreme Court in the Duterte versus HOR case, the Bill of Rights applies in all stages of the impeachment process.
Yeah,
And
so-
a lot of balancing needs
So you
to
have
be-
the right to privacy, but how do you exact accountability? Because also, when you look into some of the information that I researched, sasabihin din po na the Constitution, what is written in the Constitution should supersede, well, number one, mamaya we'll talk about that, yung sa BIR, yung sa issue po sa BIR on what they call statutory laws, no? But for them to be able to exact accountability, which is through the impeachment proceedings, should that be able to supersede, for example, the AMLA as amended in 2021, sir?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
Should an impeachment proceeding under the Constitution supersede? Should it be more important? Should it have more value as compared to the AMLA as amended in 2021, as you were stating a while ago, sir?
So, it will not supersede kasi yung foundation nga po ng confidentiality laws is also a constitutional provision. So, it needs to be balanced. Currently, yung position namin, since the law is absolute, yung confidentiality, Section 8A, we are just enforcing that provision.
Not to
And
belabor.
as to the accountability aspect, ma'am, as if, let's say, umabot sa Senate impeachment trial court, and then we will just take it on a legal step-by-step basis.
We need to take a very short break. We'll continue our discussion with Attorney Neil Abayon when we return. Stay tuned. This is On Point.
Galing talaga ni attorney, no? Ma-interview natin yan mamaya, ha? Panoorin ninyo sa Vox Populi.
We're still talking about the AMLA and, of course, the bank secrecy law. I'll have to say, it's still the reason I asked you, well, and I'm happy that you're here, really is to understand this better and to understand the rights of an individual. But there's still lots to talk about. Let's talk about this BIR audit. The BIR has actually ordered a tax audit of Duterte, Carpio, and 9 businesses linked to the couple, saying there is probable cause to have their financial records examined. Can you comment on that, please, sir?
So, we have not, as of today, we have not received any letter of authority, any LOA pa naman po. So, we're just waiting. Once it's official, then we will, again, take it on a legal step-by-step basis, the proper procedure lang po.
So how
We will
many,
respond accordingly, in simple terms.
fair enough, how many businesses does Attorney Carpio have?
So, we would not be disclosing muna any specifics because we also would want to reserve our legal strategy once the appropriate time arrives. Pag na-receive po yung LOA, then we will just respond accordingly po.
That's fair, but I'll name them because they were already named.
Okay.
Carpio Lawyers, please correct me if I'm wrong, Zelta Matim Salon, City Hall King Chow Foods Corp, Davao Bounty Times Food Corp, Madayao Fisheries, Davao Emerging Taipans Corp, Amayan Shores Inc., CAL or Kale 88 Foods Corp, and Geometry Security and Investigation Agency. You would rather not comment on
Not
that.
comment muna. Pero we're prepared naman po to respond once the official documents are received.
But are you denying that these 9 companies are linked to him?
No comment lang muna.
No comment. All right. Let's talk about the SAL-Ns. That was big, of course, during the House Justice Committee hearings. In the SAL-N, that is supposed to be joint. Conjugal po sila sa pagkaintindi ko at yung pong aking nababasa. In 2007, 2008, and 2009, in the SAL-Ns, only 3 companies were identified or part of the SAL-Ns. Pagdating daw po noong 2024, naging 9 or 10.
Okay.
Comment on that, sir.
No comment muna because Attorney Mans is not a respondent to the impeachment case.
Yeah, he's not a respondent,
Party to
but
the
we're
case.
talking about a SAL-N na sila pong dalawa magkasama. Ang hirap
Yes.
po kasing sabihin na understandably is not part of the impeachment proceedings, pero yung inilalatag po nilang ebidensya, kasama po siya eh. They're not independent of each other.
We'll respond in the proper venue, ma'am. Once cases are filed against Attorney Mans. We're prepared naman po, legally. So, basta follow lang kami sa legal procedure.
Hintayin nyo na lang po.
Yeah, he will exercise all the legal remedies that is available and respond in the proper venue once the proper time arrives.
Okay. Were you concerned? Was it yesterday during the House Justice Committee na nandun po yung box ng sinasabing ITR o yung tax records ng Vice Presidente at ng inyong pong kliyente si Attorney Carpio?
Were we concerned?
Yeah, that they might open it.
We were just observing kung ano yung maging actions nila. Then kung ano yung gawin po nila, we were also prepared to exhaust all available legal remedies to Attorney Carpio.
Meaning, sabihin po natin, binuksan nila, mag-file po kayo ng criminal complaint.
Well, first we will review if there are any possible violations. Kung may makita kami, then again, we will just exhaust all available legal remedies. Again, we're just taking it talaga ma'am on a legal step-by-step basis.
Yeah. But you obviously spoke to him about these tax records. And while I understand that you will take it a step at a time, once you get a notice or a LOA, which is, fair enough, sir. How do you assess all these things that are coming out in the House Justice Committee that involves your client?
So currently, yun nga po, hindi siya respondent to the case. So the very basic and rules of procedure, if you're not a party to the case, then you should not respond.
Are there SAL-Ns? Can you confirm that they're conjugal?
I would reserve naman po from answering first.
But I think it was already known. It's clear as day that supposedly that it's conjugal.
We'll just respond na lang po, ma'am, once if ever cases are filed against Attorney Carpio.
Mahigpit itong si attorney. Hindi mahugutan ng sagot. Hinahanapan siya ng sagot eh. Delegates kasi una-una, yan ay usapin na legal strategy na yan eh. Kung ano yung isasagot mo eh. Pwedeng gamitin eh. Ganyan ng abogado. Hindi katulad ni UC Claire Castro. Pag abogado mo siguro si UC Claire Castro, no? Kunwari private lawyer pa siya, no? Tapos in-interview siya, baka lahat ng sikreto mo nalaman na ng taong bayan.
Are there possible conflicts of interest, sir, doon sa mga businesses ni Attorney Mans, being the husband of a sitting politician? Or would you say that all those were above board?
Conflicts of interest in what sense?
Well, hindi ba kapag ikay isang congressman, mayor, kailangan walang conflict of interest na papasukin ng iyong pamilya that would benefit the family while you are a sitting politician?
I refuse to comment na lang po muna.
Okay.
We'll just respond, ma'am, in the proper venue.
Sige,
in the right time.
can we talk about the 6.7 billion in transactions because that came out? Attorney, lumabas po yan. Outflows for both, 1.55 billion pesos. Inflows, 4.43 billion pesos. Undetermined transactions, 791.1 million. Ang tanong po ng mga congressman, bakit daw hindi nasama yan sa SAL-N?
So this is actually an example, ma'am, ng sa AMLAC records,
Yes.
transaction records. So that's why our Attorney Mans filed a case under Anti-Money Laundering Act. Kasi allegedly, these are his AMLAC records. So I will...
Meron po si VP at meron po siya independent of each other, tapos total yung silang dalawa.
Yes, but this was the report from the Anti-Money Laundering Council Executive Director.
Right.
Yeah. So this is one of the basis of the case filed. So going back to your question po, we have actually not received the official copy of this one. Yung complaint was based on the YouTube account of the House of Representatives na session nila.
Yung napanood po natin.
Yes.
And of course, you need the proper the
Of
proper
course, so we can
papers.
review everything properly.
But yung 6.7 billion, is he denying that?
Well, we have not received the official document, so we're not sure kung ano yung basis talaga nila nun.
Because during succeeding interviews after the filing of a criminal complaint before the Quezon City Prosecutor's Office, there were some lawmakers who were saying, nag-file sila ng kaso pero hindi naman dinedeny si 6.7 na inflow and outflow. That's why I wanted to get your...
Okay. So
Reaction to
ang sabihin ko na lang po, there's no admission on the side of Attorney Mans. So
There's no
yeah,
admission of what, sir?
of,
Could you be more
of
specific?
that amount that they are alleging.
Whole, part, or part of it?
Everything that they're alleging in relation to that.
Is what?
Walang admission on the part of Attorney Mans.
Does that mean that it's not true? Hirap po kasi yung no admission, baka magkaroon po ng ibang pagkaintindi.
We'll comment na lang po once we actually receive it.
Okay.
And fully review everything.
I think when I was watching some of the interviews of Attorney Danao, he was saying he actually refuted the 6.7 billion. That's why I wanted to get your reaction, being the spokesperson of Attorney Mans.
So it's
Wala,
very...
ang sabi niya, walang 6.7 billion. Would you say the same thing, sir?
Walang 6.7 na inflow-outflow? Or we're talking just about inflow-outflow?
Opo. Yung lumabas po na 6.7 billion pesos.
So we can't really comment properly kasi yun nga po, we don't have the official records. So we can't admit or deny properly.
Okay.
And yun nga po, since the Attorney Mans is not a respondent to the impeachment case, he actually has no obligation to refute anything at the moment kasi there's no case filed against him in relation to that.
Got it. 88.5 million pesos in the SAL-N of the Vice President that's supposed to be conjugal. Ibig sabihin, pinagsamang yaman ni Vice President and Attorney Mans at 88.5 million. Is this valid? Is this true?
I'm speaking kasi on behalf of Attorney Mans, ma'am. So
Okay.
the impeachment is against Vice President Sara Duterte.
Ne-
So if cases are filed against Attorney Mans, we'll respond naman po.
Okay, so... Pero,
Currently, lahat po kasi is against me.
Buti na lang hindi silibayan yung abogado. Hindi kasi dapat tama. Itong abogadong to tama eh. Magaling mo siya eh. Hindi siya sasagot kung hindi naman kasama sa usapan. Minsan kasi meron talaga mga abogado na bida-bida. Yung hindi naman yun na pinag-uusapan, sinagot mo na rin. Ito kasi, sandali, kahit 88 million yung sinasabing SAL-N, Dali, ang kliyente ko lang o yung aking lang nire-represent dito is si Mans Carpio, hindi kasama yung kay BP Sara Duterte. So, huwag niyo akong tanungin tungkol kay BP Sara.
So it would be best if the camp of BP will discuss it.
Okay, what can you tell us about Attorney?
Sabi nung, sige na nga, anong pwede mo lang sabihin? Hindi pala pwede lahat sabihin eh. Anong pwede mo lang sabihin?
Mans then? And yung kanya pong pinagdadaanan dahil nga nandyan po ang kanyang pangalan, nandyan po ang kanyang SALE, nandyan na rin ang kanyang supposed businesses and his tax records in a box that was not opened. Go ahead, sir.
So ano lang po, currently we're just observing if there will be any legal violations, and kung may makita po siyang any violation of his right, he will exhaust all available legal remedies.